Hi, and welcome to VFX Tutors. I'm Josh, and in this tutorial we're going to be continuing with our chainsword. So in the previous tutorial we made our chainsaw link and we used mesh to rig it across a curve, and I just basically did it on the first one, then I just did it in my own time over the other side, and I just quickly duplicated some stuff across. So we're getting pretty close to the end of this. So I want to complete this as a full model. So although we don't really need to do the handle, I want to finish it off. I want to make sure that I do the handle. Then once we've done the handle, we'll just go around and add some extra tiny little things. So in this tutorial, we're just going to do the handle. So I don't need any reference for this because I already have the scan for it, so we're just going to remodel from the scan. So I'm just going to go File, Import, and you should have, well, if you've gone this far in this tutorial, you probably have the scan as well, because you can create the sword scan from the photogrammetry tutorials, and that's all free. You can download all the images. So I've just loaded that in. So if I just Control 1, I can actually see we've got loads of mesh nodes here which we need to tidy up at some point. So we've got our original proxy mesh that we made, and we have also our scan. So I want to build this from the scan, and I know if I just build it from what the position it is, it's going to be fine. So the first thing that I want to do is go to my channel box. I'm just going to make it a layer, and I'm just going to call it scan, just so I know that's that. There you go. So I think it's imported in some other layers that we don't need. That. Cool. So we're pretty close to finishing this, so I'm just going to hide all the things that I don't need. So first of all, we already have this section here, so we don't need to model that. So I'm just going to start off with making the basic shaft. So I am just going to use a cylinder, and this will probably be quite a quick tutorial. Then the next one we'll do the wrapping, or we'll see how long this takes. It shouldn't be drastic too long, and basically we're just going to trace around it. So it's going to be the first sort of thing that we've done that's not been modeling from reference. So first of all, I'm actually just going to pick a section where I can see the wood quite clearly, although I can see the wood quite clearly in all of it. And I want to use this to give me my width. So I'm quite happy with that, and obviously it's not that thick. So we're probably not going to get the desired shape that we want. Just by doing that, so well, we might be close. Probably because the scan's not. There's going to be a certain amount of sort of, you can see in the edges it's kind of like ramping up. But as long as we get this pretty decent shape, should be fine. And it looks like it's very close to matching that. So I'm just going to actually align that roughly center. I can leave that there for now. And I'm just going to go to my vertices. In fact, before, yeah, I'm just going to go to my vertices and pull them all the way to the end. I'm just going to pull it up. Not so worried that I don't see it that much there, but I'm just going to use my multi-cut. Just going to get some orthographic front. Oops, F. I'm going to try it. It's always good to sort of pick the middle first so you get the nice even curve first. We can even go to X-ray. We can see that we're far too tall in the thickness. So we need to leave enough. So imagine we need to leave enough room for this sort of lace wrap. Then I'm just going to go into the middle sections. Just going to try and keep it as uniform as possible. We don't have to do an excruciating amount of detail in this because it's going to be covered with a wrap. We only really want to see it for the wood section. Cool, so I've got it pretty even across the top and the bottom. So I'll go to my perspective. I can actually select my faces and deselect that. Delete the end. Do the same with that one. Because I know I'm not going to sculpt it, so that's fine. So now when I do smooth, let's go to my orthographic and check the thickness. It's nice and smooth. Cool, so that's pretty much that for the wooden part. Let's turn our X-ray off. We'll just call this wood handle. I'm quite bad with naming our stuff, so we do actually have to go through and name all our stuff at some point. So I'm actually going to multi-cut and just reuse the geo that I already have. Let's go to my orthographic front before I do this. Oh, let's make sure we're not in smooth, that'll be it. So just duplicate that and just delete everything else. Now, if I go back to my perspective, turn my X-ray off, if I just uniformly scale this, so it's a slightly different shape to the handle. So I'm just going to pull that to the end. And this detail here will probably have to sculpt that in. We'll create a and create a displacement for it. Because we're just building the base mesh for it now. Cool. Do look slightly rotated, but I'm not too bothered about that. So I'm just going to Control E, scale that in. Do the same on this side. Control E, scale that in. So I'm just going to isolate that, and we do need to make sure that we fill this because we're going to be sculpting it. And I'll shift and right click, fill that hole. We've got quite a lot of subdivisions here, so just make sure you multi-cut all these edges so they're nice and because this is, at the moment this is a base mesh. When we eventually get around to putting the detail onto it, it will change because when you sculpt it and then you have another low res mesh, it slightly changes. So, and then I'm just going to relax this. Just only down the center bit, not the edges. Cool, that should be okay. I'll just do the same on this side. Fill hole. I could probably could have duplicated that, but we're at a slight angle, so I'd rather just do it. It's just easier for me to do it this way. And you don't have to do this bit. If you're just doing it for the plate, we would keep the handle in the plate. I'm only doing this because I just want this to do the complete model. I just don't want to do half of it or 90% of it. So it just gives you something to show for your sort of modeling as well. Cool. So we've pretty much done that. So I'm going to add a subdivision down the middle. And then I want to make sure these edges are beveled. Let's check the size of it. So I'm just going to freeze transforms. Or not freeze transform, sorry, undo that. Center the pivot first and delete the history. Just going to scale it because it's smoothed at the moment. I want it to be about the right size. Cool, so I just turn my scan off. This is from our actual model, so I can probably hide that. Don't really need that. Hide that. Cool. So yeah, for How long is this? For that, we pretty much, should we, let's also do this very basic trinket in here. Then after that, we'll do the, in the next tutorial, we'll do the wrap. So I should try and split them up to their shorter tutorials, because I know I've been making quite long ones. So I guess this is like some sort of pendant or something. I'm going to make it extremely basic because we're not going to see it that much. Also, I think that goes under there, so we need to make it a little bit longer. Cool. So I'm pretty happy with that. So all I'm going to do is add some very rough multi-cuts in here at the moment to places where I definitely need it. And I'm just going to scale it until it's sort of fitting. So it's just going to be very basic at the moment. Cool. So we've got the rough shape. Just going to pull this out and see how it's like. So select all these front faces for now. Just scale it uniformly. Now I'm just going to move these vertices a little bit better. What I will do is actually let's try and get this as close as possible first. Then we can worry about the thickness afterwards. So you just have to keep adjusting it around till it sort of covers. And obviously you don't have to do this exact shape if you don't want. You can do something completely different. You can add your own thing in there. So I'm just going to add a multi-cut down the middle. So it's quite tricky to figure out what that shape is. So what we'll do is just select these faces. Just Control E. Make sure you've got all of them selected. This is just going to be a very basic shape for now. Some more detail here. So all this sort of detail we'll sculpt in and stuff, so don't worry as long as we get the basic shape. Cool. And that's pretty much, so we'll just call this, not sure what this would be called, handle emblem geo. And we can keep that as that for now. Cool, so we're pretty much done for this tutorial. So in the next one, we'll start doing the hand wraps. And then we'll just completely finish off the handle by making all the lace. So if you've enjoyed this tutorial, hit that like button and subscribe for more like this.